We're all going to die someday, God willing, in a long time from now. And we also have had loved ones pass away. If you're over 50, it's happened already. Our mothers, our fathers, our aunts, our uncles, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, our cousins, nieces and nephews. God forbid our children, but that happens too. Often there's a medical condition that precedes it. It might be a medical condition you're facing in yourself. It might be a medical condition in somebody you love, your husband, your wife, your daughter, your son, your grandmother. There's no escaping that. And you might even have some feeling, you keep getting this pain in a certain spot, and you know this little lump, you go, God, I hope it's not cancer. Uncle died of cancer. Cousin died of cancer. I hope it's not cancer. Well, that's a darkness within ourselves. It's a darkness. It's certainly not light. It's a distraction. It's a darkness. It might keep us from being fully present with our loved ones. You could have somebody there you really wanted to visit with, but you keep going, I wonder if it's a cancer. So you're talking to somebody and everybody's laughing, having a good time. You're going, I wonder if it's a cancer. Or maybe it's your mother, your father, your grandparents, grandmother. See, they were diagnosed with cancer. They have cancer. You're joking around and your thought comes back to, my grandma has cancer. And how much longer she's going to be here. Darkness. Nobody might even know you're in that darkness. How do you put some illumination in that? Because if it's not one thing, it's another. There's going to be one illness after the other, one death after the other. I know some of my beautiful patients that I have, they have 2, 3 deaths in a year in their family, close ones, close. Some have even been there when their loved ones have gone. Darkness within us. So they might be talking to some friend, group of friends, whatever, laughing. But inside they say, I just lost my grandma. I know a wonderful young man was so despondent his cousin just died. I never saw him so down. Right down. He can't really enjoy his life. He was so despondent. So people walking around with the darkness. There's no escaping it because you and I are going to have the cancer, heart disease, a heart attack, stroke, whatever. And unless you know how to speak light into that darkness, you're going to walk around, we're going to walk around in the darkness. Some people say, I just want you to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's a saying, that's a thing. But what I say is, no. Don't wait to see the light at the tunnel. No. Be the light within your own darkness. That's the title of the presentation. Be the light in your tunnel of darkness. Be the light in your tunnel of darkness. Different idea. I'm dedicating this to Mercy because I came up with this while we were talking. Don't wait for the light at the end of the tunnel. Be the light in your own darkness. Be the light in our own tunnel of darkness. Be the light in our own tunnel of darkness. And I'm going to show you how to do that. For those of you who've been in my program, in the honor program, you already have a pretty good idea because I've talked about the commands of honor, which we'll be going into. Now you might, if you're have a close relationship, a significant other, a husband, a wife. You run into a rough patch where you're arguing and maybe some very harsh things were said, very harsh, hurt your feelings, and then you hurt her feelings or his feelings. And you're just not okay. Men say to me, well, happy wife, happy life. I say, no, 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 no. Unhappy wife, unhappy life. Unhappy wife, unhappy life. It'd be a darkness. Your wife's upset with you, angry. You really did something to offend her or hurt her. And she lets you know in no uncertain terms, that she felt really disrespected and offended and hurt by it. And giving you the cold shoulder. An hour, 2 hours, rest of the day. The next day, you're supposed to be at a gathering with relatives. Yep, you go there and you look at her being talking to everybody else, and she's not talking to you. It's a darkness in yourself. A darkness. You can't really have a good time. You can't really enjoy your life when things are not right with your significant other. Just can't. It's impossible. If you speak light into that darkness, it'll help. It won't make it vanish. It'll help. So the light in that case would be, I wish you well. I love you. I adore you. I cherish you. I wish you well. So I wish you well is one of the commands of honor. I adore you. I cherish you. I love you. Those are laws of honor, the laws of love, which are part of the laws of honor. That's how you speak light into the tunnel of your darkness. That's the secret. Still, things are not totally right with you and your wife, or a woman can be with her and her husband. We can speak a little light into it. Of course, there's respectfully real conversation based on the laws of honor. I call these the laws of humility. So if you said to your wife, sweetheart, I love you. I apologize. I was wrong. You were right. I'll never do it again. I'm not always live with honor, but I will die with honor. She melts. And you kiss each other. She says, I forgive you, sweetheart. She may not do that, but let's assume she will for this moment. Well, you were a success. You spoke light into the darkness, not just in your own thoughts, which is very important. Sometimes all you have is speaking light into your own thoughts. Sometimes you can speak that light to the other person in the darkness of the relationship darkness. You're speaking light into that. I love you. Apologize. I was wrong. You were right. I will never do it again. Please forgive me. I'm not always live with honor, but I will die with honor. So that's a little light. Then all of a sudden, you see her eyes light up. You see the love in her eyes. You could see again. You're present again. You can smile again. You could laugh again. Reborn. You spoke light into the darkness, and it was gone. That's power. And you have that power. Of course, to do that particular little trick, so to speak, honor before pride. Honor before pride. If you put your pride first, I always tell people, pride is a cold lover. Won't keep you warm in bed at night. Oh, no. Cold lover. Out of pride, you may not want to apologize. And if you really look at it, you'll find some aspect to apologize for. Maybe you might feel your wife triggered you. Yeah, but then look how you spoke. You added fuel to the fire. You can apologize for your part. She may or may not apologize for hers. That's irrelevant. Once you're committed to the way of honor, that's the foundation for knowing how to be the light in your tunnel of darkness. That's the foundation for knowing how to be the light within your tunnel of darkness. It's doable. I've done it many times. I've seen so many of my beautiful, wonderful patients do it often. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It's light upon light. In the medical example, I was about 19 years ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. People say, how can you be so relaxed? Well, I said, because one of the commands of honor, God, your wish is my only wish. I'm a believer. People who don't believe would use, I seek always to serve my highest values. I said, God, if you want me to go, you want to take me to the other side with this cancer, this prostate cancer, I want to die and go on and be with you. God, your wish is my only wish. I want to go. I said, Lord, if you want me to serve you here on earth, then I want to stay here on earth to serve you. And Lord, if you have no preference, I prefer to stay here and serve you. Well, they did a prostatectomy. It hadn't spread, hadn't metastasized. I'm good to go. 19 years ago, no problem since, thank God. But I spoke light into the darkness in my thoughts. And because I was so prepared with these thoughts, God, your wish is my only wish. And I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. It's one of the other commands of honor. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. So when the doctor said to me, the urologist said, Dr. Nerenberg, you tested positive for prostate cancer. It's not a little bit amount. It's actually intermediate, and it's somewhat aggressive with a Gleason of 7. My face went numb for about 10 seconds. And then I said to him, now here's when I spoke the light into the darkness. He said, Doc, that's great. He said, what? I'm sure he never forgot. That was 19 years ago. I'm sure he still remembers it. He said, yeah, this is great. I said, this prostate cancer will make me stronger, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I walked outside, didn't know how long I'd be alive. At that point, we didn't know if it metastasized or not. And you saw the clouds and the trees and the birds. I heard the birds. It was exquisite. I saw the people walking by. I know they looked at me as a stranger, but to me, they were my family. I loved them. I felt love for everybody. I just want to go talk to them like I've known them all my life. Of course, I knew how inappropriate that was, but that's what my feeling was. So already, the emotional and spiritual power had been given to me. Then 3 months later, wearing a diaper because I was incontinent for a while, I flew out to New Jersey. Only athlete to ever weigh in wearing a diaper. Set a world record that I flew on Friday, set the world record Saturday. Saturday night, I flew back from New Jersey. So physically, mentally, spiritually, just added to me. Then also, I came to see how you can speak light into your darkness. It was another example, a dramatic one at that, of speaking light into the darkness. People were amazed how relaxed I was. It was very, when I was going for the prostatectomy, remember at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles, it was like a holy pilgrimage. I was joking around with the doctors, felt so much love for them. It was quite an awakening. Beautiful. So, this is the secret, how to be the light in your own tunnel of darkness. There's so many forms of darkness. You may have a lawsuit, somebody's suing you, or there's been an injustice and you're having to sue somebody else. And it's consuming. You've never been in this situation before. Could be, let's say, a case against you in terms of business or criminal even, a criminal case. But you have to know how to speak light into the darkness. Doesn't mean every time you there's totally dispel that darkness. No. Shine the light in it, change the quality of the darkness. That's doable. See, I have the commands of honor. Wish you well. These are the secrets how to do it. I wish you well. Take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problem. And that speaks light into the darkness, because one of the greatest, is to convince yourself that you're a victimhood is one of the greatest darknesses imaginable. Now, some people are truly victims. You're walking down the street, somebody shoots you, boom, that's a victim. 99% of the time, we're co-creating it. And then once we co-create it, that empowers us to make this. I'm not a victim here. I've co-created this. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to learn my lesson from this. So when you just do it within your own thoughts, I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. You speak light into it, and you dispel the story of victim. 99% of people in prison, I'm innocent. I didn't do it. That's the story. Well, they're victims. They've got a victim story. Here's so many victim stories, so many situations. It's like a worldwide disease, worldwide darkness. All cultures, every kind of people say, this was done to me. I'm innocent. They're to blame for what I'm going through. That blaming is forbidden in every religion. It's a great darkness. Right up. I've done it plenty in my life. I know what I caught on. Oh, by the way, it was about 40 years before I put some of this together. I discovered taking responsibility would release my own darkness. But I soon forgot it. I lived it for about maybe a month and I forgot it. Then when I came back into it, about 40 years later, I called it a command of honor. You have to repeat it 3 times a day for life. That way you don't forget it. Believe me, here's the greatest tragedy known to humankind. This is the biggest tragedy. Ready? To know the truth that will set you free and then fail to live that truth. The greatest tragedy known to man is to know the truth that will set you free and then fail to live that truth. Of course, you're definitely going to fail if you don't review it every day. That's why I have people reciting the commands of honor 3 times a day to help maximize the probability that we're going to live these truths. Then, of course, we have the bridge. What's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? So we say the 4 commands of honor. Wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality, my problems. I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. And then, God, your wish is my only wish, if you believe in God as I do. Or, I seek always to serve my highest values. And then, what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? The bridge. So do that 3 times a day for life. I tell my patients, when you're not my patient anymore, are you committed to keeping this up for life? And everybody's saying yes. I said, good. Because if you don't, you'll fail to live the truth that will set you free. And then you'll become a slave to your lower passions, to your angers, your hurts, your jealousies, every low state there is. Like I've said before, we're all a slave to something, so choose your master well. We're all a slave to something, so choose your master well. You can be a slave to your lower passions, angers, resentments, plots of revenge, lust, or a slave to God, or slave to your higher nature, to your divine nature, to your honor nature. I've served my lower nature plenty in my younger years, plenty. Wasn't that good? If it would have been real good, I would have stayed there, but it wasn't that good. Like I say, if I didn't run into so much suffering and misery from it, I never would have stopped it. I said, wow, this isn't working. You follow the 4 commands of honor. It's a path of no regrets. So when you're 95, 105, 120, say, I live a life of honor and I have no regrets. That's the goal. The goal of the journey, the goal of the therapeutic program that my beautiful, wonderful people are in. Now, there's some other laws or derivatives of the commands of honor. Whatever you're going through, I hope to come back much stronger than ever. Or I hope to come back much stronger than ever, God willing. You're breathing hope into despair. You're breathing hope into despair. I hope to come back much stronger than ever. You can share whatever struggle or misery you have without people thinking you're just some kind of a wimp. So you end it with that statement. You say, I'm going through this, that, and the other thing, but you know what? I hope to come back much stronger than ever. Then that's respect. You go, wow, respect. Much respect to you for that. Now, another derivative of the commands of honor, one that I like as a believer in God, is God, I'm extremely grateful for the gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you. God, I'm extremely grateful for the gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you. We didn't suffer, we wouldn't turn to God as much. We just wouldn't. If it wasn't for the suffering, nobody could develop wisdom. You can't develop wisdom if you don't suffer. This is not to say everybody that suffers develops wisdom, but you cannot develop wisdom without suffering. Without suffering, you can't enter the realms of having compassion. Some of the blessings right there of the suffering. God, I'm extremely grateful for that gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you. One of the derivatives of the commands of honor. Now, a lot of people worry. That's the darkness. A person's worried about a medical issue, a legal issue, a relationship issue, a financial issue, or something at the job, and you can't help it. I know so many wonderful people say, I've worried all my life. I can't help it, and they can't. So I tell people there are 2 types of thoughts. The thoughts that put in your mind but do not define who you are. Based on your genetics, family upbringing, societal norms. Don't fight it. Don't try to make it go away. No, just let it be. Balance it with a thought of your choosing, sort of honor. It could be, I'll be fine. God willing, I'll be fine. Speaking light into the darkness of worry. Worry is the darkness. These are all dark states of mind. I'll be fine, or God willing, I'll be fine. Guilt is of darkness. People feel guilty about all kinds of things. And it's mom guilt. I was guilty. I shared something one time with my baby. I ignored my older child because my baby was here. I felt guilty. I see a lot of that. I see people say, gee, I wish I spent more time with my grandmother. I should have spent more time before she passed. They feel guilty. I tell people, you know what? Do the best you can. It's never enough. You could have done more. So for those who believe in God, this is what I tell them. Repeat this one. God forgives me, and I want to forgive myself. God forgives me, and I want to forgive myself. Or God forgives me, and I forgive myself. You don't believe in God, just use I forgive myself. I choose to forgive myself. So you're speaking some light into that darkness. For me, I would like God forgives me, and I want to forgive myself. I want is I call the shield penetrator, because I say I forgive myself. I feel, well, not really forgiving myself. It's really I want to. So when you go, I want to forgive myself, but then I found within 2 weeks that shield penetrator, I want to. You don't need it. God forgives me, and I forgive myself. So these are very important part. Now, a very important part of the secret, speaking light into the tunnel of darkness, speaking light into your tunnel of darkness. Again, you're not waiting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. No. You become the light in the tunnel of your darkness. You don't wait till you come out the other end. Oh, no need to. Of course, good when you come out of it, but in the meantime, you know how to speak light into that darkness. Now, one of the great ones, one of the derivatives of the commands of honor, it's a powerful one. What's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? What's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? I have so many examples of that. I'll give you one of them. I had a patient come in weeping. Lovely, lovely lady. The son was shot 9 times. He was in stable condition in the hospital. She told me she was weeping. I have 7 children. I said, oh my God, that's a parent's nightmare. I said, I feel so much compassion for you. I said, what if I told you the best true story you can tell yourself about this that will give dignity, nobility, and honor to you and to your son? She said, really? And she was still weeping. I said, are you ready for the healing medicine? She said, yes, I am. Here it is. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. She looked at me. She went from tears and her face started glowing. She left the room. She said, God has a purpose for his life. I said, be sure to tell your son what I said. I saw the next week she was still beaming. I said, did you tell your son? He said, yeah. He smiled. He laughed. He made him happy to hear that. Now, when she left that day, the son was still shot 9 times. It didn't change that. That's a really bad story. Sad one. The son was shot 9 times. He was just standing in. He was a true victim. They shot him 9 times. But there's also, every time there's a bad story, a true story, a true bad story, there's the best true story. Besides the worst true story, there's the best true story. So that's only half the story, that he was shot 9 times. The other part of it was, they couldn't kill him and shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. So that's the best true story about a really bad situation. And that's always there. Every loss, there's a gain. Every calamity, there's a blessing. That's the spiritual, psychological fact of life, a law of the universe. I'm Dr. Arnold Nerenberg, a licensed clinical psychologist for over 50 years. And like I like to say, I'm 84 years old and I finally have a pretty good idea what I'm doing. So these are truths revealed to me from the Spirit, from experiences, and from making just an awful lot of mistakes in my life. I made more mistakes than all of you listening. Whoppers. But, like my father said to me, son, I have a lot of good advice to give you, not because I've been so smart, it's just I've been so stupid. And so my stupidity is part of my credential to be able to bring this to you. And what a pleasure it is to do so. A great pleasure, a great enjoyment, great blessing for me to be here with you. What I want to do now, I want to open it up to all our beautiful guests that are here, keeping in mind that when you speak up, people benefit as much or more than when I'm speaking.
Hey, Doc, how you doing? Juan Soda.
Juan, always good to hear from you, Juan, always.
Looking sharp as always. Another blessed Tuesday.
Working on it, yep. Thank you.
Okay, remember the first time we met and the nickname I gave you?
What was it?
The Man of Steel.
The Man of Steel. Okay.
Remember that?
No, I didn't, but thanks for reminding me. It tickles me, yeah.
Okay. And I wrote that little letter to you and I read it to you while we're sitting across from your desk. You mind if I read it?
Please do. I like to be reminded of it.
Okay. It's been a long time, but I've been waiting for this kind of opening ceremony so I can do so.
Wow, I'd love to hear you.
It was started to the Man of Steel, Dr. Steel. It is my pleasure to have met such an awesome person who had made me realize the human being that I really am. A man who has been in the other side of the law, but who has realized why he put himself in that situation. To care for others like myself that's been lost in my own world. I'm grateful to God that this matter happened because I would have never had the pleasure and opportunity of your blessing, wisdom, and love that you have for the community and the souls of God's brothers and sisters. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. I didn't remember that, but I'm sure glad to hear that. And that is the best true story of whatever you're going through that brought you into disability, is you had a chance to get the honor teachings. And of course, then I get the opportunity, the positive, good story for me is I get to meet each of you. Beautiful sunshine, beautiful flowers that you are. It's just a great enjoyment and delight. You're all a delight to me. And so that's what's brought to me. Juan, I don't have a work-life balance. I just have life. It's all life to me. People say, well, you're 84. Why are you going to retire? I say, why would I? I don't have something better to do than meet the beautiful human beings that I get to talk to every day. Why would I want to retire? Certainly, I'm grateful for making a livelihood, but more importantly, you're more important than the money I make. So thank you for reading that, Juan. I guess there's so many beautiful things I didn't remember. The Man of Steel. As a powerlifter, I was called the Hebrew Hammer. C.T. Fletcher called me the Hebrew Hammer. But the Man of Steel, I guess I'm a combination of steel and water. Just flow like water and hit like steel, handle life like steel. But that's beautiful. But the strength involved in steel, that's a great metaphor. And I thank you for that, Juan. Thank you for finding it. I don't know how you found that.
I know. I still have my files. So I pulled that one out when you were talking about it. I ran upstairs. I looked for it. I found it.
You're a very organized guy.
I still had it.
You are a very organized guy to be able to pull that up.
The first time I went to your office and I seen all your trophies and your pictures and stuff like that, and that's first thing that came.
Those were the days when
was a man of art.
Those were the days when the lobby was a gym, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And I had weights all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was my life.
You had that room downstairs for us too.
Yeah, I had the room downstairs to work out, and then I had bench press and all kinds of weights in the lobby here. Yeah. And then I had
the thing that I do miss, Doc, is the walks we used to take when we used to go down to
we used to take walks and sit there and talk. Day. Yeah, yep, yep. I remember those.
We used to do the pull-ups on the trees and stuff. I was like, wow.
It's funny about that tree at Whittier College. I did pull-ups on it many times. So one day, I was on some medication. I made a jump for it. And the sun was in my eyes, and I missed it. And I went, boom! I slapped down on the cement, my whole body. I was about 75 at the time. Wham! In fact,
but you got up like a 20-year-old.
Well, I got up, and then I went to the doctor's. And he said, he took an X-ray. He said, "Wow, your bones are so big and thick. You didn't break anything." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Must be all the." He knew I was a world champion powerlifter. He said, "I guess it's all the weightlifting strength." See, when you lift weight,
jump. That was a pretty high jump.
Yeah, well, I didn't make it that day because of the medication thing. And I mean, it was a belly flop on cement. And I think I did jack up. I got up.
You sat next to me, and we continued our conversation, and we had a beautiful conversation.
All the time was beautiful.
And we walked back.
And I did award you the Respectfully Real Peace Award for achievements you made and being respectfully real.
Thank you.
I still have your photograph. I always have your photograph right here on the table here in the lobby. Thanks for that one.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I'm blessed for that. Yeah. I'm blessed to have met such a beautiful person like yourself.
Well, the feeling's mutual, and I haven't forgotten what a good barber you are too.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, my son became a licensed barber.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
He lived the dream.
Steps, so
yeah,
it's a good thing.
Very good thing. Thanks, Juan.
Thank you so much, and I bless you and your family with a happy New Year's.
And I wish much health, longevity, and great meaning to you and your beloved family.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who else has
God
something?
bless.
God bless you, brother. Who else has something you'd like to ask or say?
Dr. Nerenberg, can I say something?
Please do. Who is this?
My name is Cynthia.
Okay, Cynthia, please speak.
Yeah, your talk is really hitting home with me today because I actually just found out that my father is diagnosed with liver cancer. And oddly enough, he has the attitude that you described. He is very much at peace and positive. It's almost like, to be honest, I feel like it's ignorance is bliss. I, on the other hand, I'm a nurse and I've had so many patients end stage liver, and I'm like really trying to find the light in the situation, but I'm so aware of the suffering that he can have in his future. And yeah, it's been a struggle I don't know.
Well, there's a couple of things, Cynthia, that I can tell you. I'm not an MD, I'm a PhD, but I'm very knowledgeable about nutrition. There's certain foods that fight cancer, broccoli being one of them, pomegranate juice. He needs to be at least 5,000 units a day of vitamin D. And cooked tomatoes to release the lycopene. Of course, legally I have to tell you to talk to your MD about it, but they typically don't get into natural things. These are some of the ways of naturally fighting cancer. And of course, minimize the sugars that feed the cancers. Number two, the longer you live, the longer you can live, because they're always coming up with new discoveries all the time. Now, do you believe in God?
I do very much. And
okay.
Actually,
and your father believes in God?
Yes.
Well, you see,
I feel like he's almost like just submitting to the fact that he is going to be meeting his maker. And he's anxious about it. But at the same time, I think that really truly is his light. And he's actually taking the attitude. He's just going to go out with the bang. And he's been doing everything I told him not to do. He's eating all the sugar and having the time of his life.
Well, that's a problem. That'll just speed it up. But let me tell you a thought that I use every morning. Mm-hmm. Every morning I recite this to myself. I say, God, I enthusiastically embrace my life as a portal to serving you and as a portal to bliss, love, light, life itself, reunion with you, reunion with my mother and father and all my loved ones. Every day I embrace my life and I embrace my death. Am I totally comfortable with that death process? No. But I'm ready to, I live in a state of being ready to embrace it as a portal to life, light, bliss, life itself, and reunion with God, reunion with my mother and father and all my loved ones. So that might be something he may want to recite. And the process of dying is a lot worse than death itself, as you know. His going on will be a blessing for him, a huge loss for you, huge loss for the loved ones. Of course, it's not the end of the relationship. You can still talk with him. He'll be helping you from the other side. You help his progress by telling him how much you love him and appreciate him. And it's a good thing to start telling him now how much you love him and I'm sure you are. Your love is healing for him. Your gratitude is healing for him. And that's a wonderful thing to do. And you have the opportunity to be with your father while he's going through this process, whether he stays here longer or not. And my father passed away. He was thousands of miles away. Many of us lose a loved one and we're far away. You have the blessing of being able to see him and talk to him. And you might want to make videos of advice that he wants to give about the family history, about what matters to him, what advice he'd like to pass on to you and his grandchildren and so forth. This is the time to get it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And actually, I do think that could be the light that I'm looking for, really.
And listen, there's no easy way to go through this. I'm just giving you something to balance it with, a way to speak some light into the tunnel of your darkness. But there's no question that it represents a threat and a big loss. But there is the best true story about it, and that also is a light. Cynthia, thank you for sharing that very, very much.
Well, thank you. I really did appreciate your talk today. It was very interesting how it was like
And if
right
your and if your
for me.
yeah, and if you or your father want to get some more pointers about this, he's welcome to text me anytime, and I'll respond to him. No charge for that, and you can, of course, as well. And you can need a lot of support during this process, a lot of support. So you're welcome to text me anytime, night or day, or if you've seen one of our wonderful nurse practitioners, you can text them also night or day. But anytime, you need a lot of support during this process.
Thank you so much. And I actually really have received that and appreciated it very much. The last talk I had was like, I walked away feeling so much, oddly enough, lighter. I really, really did. So.
Yeah. I can understand. I'm glad. It's a pleasure speaking with you, Cynthia. And give our love to your father. And given he's a believer, he's probably happy to go on, or he will be happy to go on, but he wants to try to stay. So the whole idea is to embrace our death and then fight like hell to stay here. That's the combination, because we're only here. If you live 120, it's going, look, I'm 84, but yesterday, and I'm serious, I was 28. Like that.
Yeah.
So it goes fast, but the longer he can stay and do for his loved ones and for society, that's a great gift. The idea of how he could serve. He can even serve in his death. He can be making little videos and passing on. If he's able to die bravely, that'd be a great contribution to all of us.
Truly. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will give him that advice. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. So we just heard from Cynthia. Hugh was saying during that little break that if they're able to remove the cancer from the liver, then the liver grows back. That's the good news. But thank you for your input, Cynthia. It was very touching, sad, at the same time, a universal condition of what we all will face in one form or another. Thank you. Who else has something you'd like to ask or say?
Hey, Doc, Juan Soto again.
Juan Soto. Yes, Juan.
Okay, I got a question about what Cynthia was talking about her dad. I'm really sorry for that. But let's say, what advice would you give or could you give? You know how, let's say the person is probably on his last step or something, and he wants, he's the diabetic or something, but if you know that he's already heading to that end of the tunnel where, he's going to see the light and, he's ready for his maker, what advice would you give if there's some people out there that would not give, I guess, their dad or their mom whatever they're asking for, like if they want a piece of cake or they want a soda or something that's bad for them, but they know that it's their last moments?
That's a good question. Part of you feels, well, you're leaving, I'll at least give you some pleasure. The other one is, I don't want to contribute to your death. So it's, my brother-in-law was dying, and he was a wonderful, amazing man. He's from Iran. He's Persian. He was living with us for many years. Beautiful, he was the most beautiful human being to meet, but he was a smoker. And he collapsed on our kitchen floor. We called the paramedics. And then the hospital revived him. We thought he was dead or close to death. And he revived him, and he was pretty chipper. And he indicated he wanted a cigarette. Well, of course, the hospital, we couldn't give him one. But even if we could, I don't think we would have given it to him. Because there's always hope. You always think, well, maybe he's going to make it. I don't want to put the nail in his coffin. There's always a thing, well, maybe he can make it. So with that little bit of hope, I wouldn't give it. But there are many people that would. So it's a personal call. I wouldn't, because I never give up hope till the last moment. Now, it looked definitely like my brother-in-law was dying. Now, he spoke Farsi. I know a little bit of Farsi. So the way he say, I love you, is man tara khalay dustaram. So remember, he hardly knew English, but he knew how to say, I love you, Arnie. So his name was John Shaw. So I used to go, Man tara chale dusteram John Shaw, cheli cheli. Very much. And then he would say, I love you, Arnie. That was English. We used to tell each other we love you. We didn't know how to say much more than that to each other. But I knew when I was doing that I'd be talking to him after he left. And every night, I say to him, Man tara chale dusteram John Shaw. And I feel, it was probably me talking to myself. And I hear him say, I love you, Arnie John. I hear it in my throat. It's like I'm talking, but I'm him saying it, and I kind of hear his voice when I do it. So one is to, and that's one way I dealt with the death that I knew would be coming. I didn't know how soon, but it looked pretty certain because he had lung cancer. And so that I've kept that up with him. And whenever I say that to him every night, it comes alive for me. I'm not saying I have any kind of special, seeing some spirit or anything. I just feel this light and a connection to him, and can't help wondering if really the reality of John Shaw is there with me and me with him. So that's the only time I've had the opportunity to do that. But it's not a bad idea if you're, like when Cynthia's with her father, set up something she says to him that she can continue saying after he leaves, and find a way to hear him say it to her. Like I say, I hear, I guess what comes into my own throat, and he says, I love you, Arnie John. I love you. And so, again, I'm not saying what the reality is to it, call it psychological, call it spiritual, whatever. But there's something very inspiring, very comforting in that practice. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough question, tough decision to do.
I personally wouldn't do it. I personally wouldn't do it. But yeah, I wouldn't say
I'm
people.
kind of with you, and it's kind of hard, like to kind of like, if he's already ill, like, you still have hope, like you're saying,
Well, let me tell you something, Juan.
But you do have those other siblings and stuff that just, hey, he's gonna die anyways. Just give him what he wants. But then that
you can't stop him.
Kind of step in at a time where, like, you don't know.
You can't stop them. You won't be able to stop them. But here's the thing. My brother-in-law killed himself. We knew smoking would kill. My mother smoked, and that killed her. My father was overeating. That killed him. My father-in-law smoked. The doctor said he'd be dead in 6 months if he don't stop. He kept smoking. He was dead in 6 months. So I almost died at 61 of a heart attack. And I was just kept eating because I wanted to get big to make a big bench press and get big and strong. So the people are killing themselves. They're killing themselves. So in a way, when you see that, I don't feel too badly when they go. I say, well, you did it to yourself. I love you. You did yourself in. If that was pretty irresponsible of you to do it. You became a burden to your family, a burden to the medical situation. Listen, I've been a burden to my family, a burden to the medical situation by what I did to myself. So, in a way, you go, well, you did it. This is the consequence. I'm not going to feel badly for you. Did yourself in. And we told you you're doing yourself. And oh, no. We told them, the doctors told them. I'm talking about people I personally know. So in a way, I used to have fantasies with my father of just kidnapping him, tying him up somewhere and keep him off of food, starve him so to get him smaller again. Of course, I didn't do it. And he did it to himself. And I said, Dad, you're killing yourself with this. And he said, yeah, son, I know. I guess it's an unconscious death wish. He psychoanalyzed himself pretty well. He was dead a year later. Just look at what people put in their shopping carts in a supermarket. It's death, and they know it. They know that those Twinkies and the vodka and all the rest is killing them. They want to enjoy themselves. Well, enjoying yourself, but honor demands you don't do that. You can become a burden to your loved ones. You can become a burden to the medical situation. It's just not an honorable thing to do. So in a way, that kind of toughens me up to people dying. when I know they've done it to themselves. Now, if somebody's murdered or something like that, that's really tragic. They didn't do it to themselves. But all the deaths I know of, we had done it to ourselves. And I almost died at 61, at 65, 68. I did it to myself each time. You can say something, Hugh?
I was in this situation where my wife was totally disabled, couldn't do anything for herself, and was in a nursing home that was not a pleasant place to be.
Yeah, Hugh was saying his wife became totally disabled, was in a nursing home. It wasn't a pleasant place to be in so many ways. Yep.
The one thing she looked forward to was the food she loved.
Yeah, she loved food. And the foods that were not healthy either. And Hugh would take her out and get her for it to make her happy.
I think what I gave her, because I knew what I was doing was shortening her life.
He knew it was shortening her life.
But what I gave her is one happy, joyous year rather than 3 miserable years.
That was Hugh's call. He gave her, 3 happy years, or 1 happy year rather than 3 miserable years. That was Hugh's call. Now, what you need to know is Cheryl was an amazing, intelligent, beautiful human being. But she did that to herself. It wasn't like just something happened to her. She was eating Twinkies way before that. He would be outside walking and taking care of himself, and she'd be sitting there because she was a great businesswoman. I'm talking great. But at the same time, she didn't move, and she ate the worst things. And so Hugh just decided, well, he's going to continue giving that to her.
Cheryl and I talked about it. Yeah, I said, I would like to keep you around as long as possible. Are you willing to go on diets and eat the right thing, or do you want to have the food you love? And she said, I want the food.
Well, there you go. So there's a very interesting one. He had a very rational conversation with dear Cheryl. So do you want to go on a diet and eat the right way so you can live longer? Or would you rather live less and eat the foods you love? She said, I want to eat the foods I love. That was her decision. And Hugh was a very, very devoted husband. We're talking devoted. And that's what he did for her.
She lit up when I brought her something.
She lit up. Let me tell you, nobody smiled the way Cheryl did. And she couldn't say much because she had stroked. And she could say yes. He could say yes 1,000 ways. So, you want this? Yes. And she would just light up. So I know what Hugh's talking about. That was, listen, she'd be laying in bed all the time at the convalescent home. The little enjoyment she had when he would take her for a ride, and her husband, or her beloved husband, and get some of these interesting, delicious foods. And I'm not going to say I disagree with that. I disagree with what she did to herself. But given she did that, I think it's a reasonable conversation. Very good point, Hugh. And thank you for sharing that. Yes. Amazing woman. Amazing.
Well, sometimes you have to take into consideration when somebody has a serious illness, the quality of the life they have left versus the misery of the life they have left.
Well, he was saying taking life, the quality of life left. But you take somebody like myself that's really trying to stay alive. If I had some illness that looked like it could be the end, I don't think I'd want to start eating cookies and candy and cake, or smoke a cigar again. I used to smoke cigars. I don't think I'd want to do that. I think somebody who found out their great pleasure in life, they probably wanted to, they've lived that way. They probably, I just die that way and enjoy myself, But you never know till you're in a situation.
I wouldn't do it for me.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done it for him. Hugh really fights to stay alive. The guy lives on kefir and blueberries. So he's trying to stay here. He's almost passed away himself a few times. We had a blood clot that went up into his lungs. It was a pretty scary thing, but he's fine now. That's a very good point. So this is some of the answer to that question. If a man's lived or a woman's lived that way, they may want to die that way. But I personally would not want to be part of contributing to that. That's my own preference. But I can't disagree with that way. I'm not saying my way is the right way. I'm just saying my preference in it. Okay, who else has anything you'd like to ask or say? Thank you for that, Hugh.
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. It's Gisela.
Gisela, always very good to hear from you, our dear ambassador of honor.
By this whole topic, so I just wanted to share something that I just came up with and give me your feedback on it.
Please.
Okay. Shine your light so bright and make it right by letting your inner radiance guide you out of the darkness.
That's basically what it is. It's by speaking the light into there, kindling the radiance within ourselves to come out. Very well said. That's exactly the process. Even if it's a small light that comes up, it may not be a big ball of fire, even a little bit of light, speaking a little light into that darkness. Very good. You always have a very interesting way of putting things, and you've done it again. You've done it every time, Gisela. Thank you.
The reason I say shine your light so bright is because nothing should be too small for us. We should always put ourselves in a bigger perspective because we are all worth it.
It's a good lifestyle. It's you just can't do it often enough. The more often we do it, the better. Sometimes it takes a while to catch on that we're in darkness. People don't realize that guilt feeling was darkness, that anger is darkness, that jealousy is darkness, that worry is darkness. Then you say, oh, I'm in the darkness. Then you start lighting it up. But that darkness for many of us is home. You don't know you're in the darkness because you've lived in the darkness for so long. It becomes home. I remember when I was at Columbia University doing my graduate work, and I had a teaching assistantship at Barnard College, which is the women's college affiliated with Columbia University. And in the lab, we had these rabbits in this little tiny cage, about 10 rabbits, all these feces in the cage, and they're all in there. And by mistake, the door opened. And actually, the rabbits all went around the room. Guess what? Within 5 minutes, every one of the rabbits went back in that smelly, crowded cage. That was home. They went back in of their own accord. That was home. So it takes a while to know you're in darkness, and then have a commitment to say, I don't want to stay here. I'm going to speak a little light into the darkness. I'm going to be the light in the tunnel of my own darkness. But first you have to recognize you are in darkness. And that may take you a while to be able to recognize it. Heck, even myself, I'll go in it, swim in it a little bit, and say, wait a minute. I do what I have to do to balance it, illuminate it. When I was younger, I spent a lot of my life in every dark cave you can imagine. So I know about those dark caves. I thought it was home. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something that's hard to believe. I'll tell you something very hard to believe. I lived out in the woods in Canada and Campbell River. No electricity, no running water. And I lived in a lot of inner darkness. I had a lot of bad stories I would tell myself about things. I was about 30 years old. Chopping the wood, out in the woods. Now, this sounds strange. For a moment, I remember I felt joy. I felt joy. It was the first time, maybe the second time in my life, I felt joy. It was so alien to me that I kind of went back into the darkness. It was so alien, it didn't even seem like it was me. Now, joy and the light, I'm more at home with it. But I was so used to darkness that I recoiled back and somehow went back to the darkness. I can hardly believe I'm saying this to you. But when darkness is all you know, and then you get some light, look, I mean, it's alien. So it takes a while to cultivate a taste for light. A baby's born, it comes out of the darkness. Some say there's a little light when the conception. There's a light that takes place even in the womb. But most it's probably a pretty dark place. Baby comes out in the lights. It's really, wow, it's really disturbing. Not used to the light. So it takes a while to become at home in the light. When darkness is all you've known, that becomes home. And light is another world. But you can cultivate a taste for it, and then it gets to be just lovely, just lovely. I enjoy being illuminated. It took a while. Anybody else have any question or comment you want to make before we conclude?
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. This is Mercy. I've been trying to talk.
Mercy. No, I dedicated this to you because it came up during our conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I'm
Mercy.
really humbled. And remember, it came from you. You're the one who came up with the phrase, and I just brought it out. So this is a very great talk that we've had today. It talks a lot about... and I looked at it in a different way. At first, I was looking at it like I being a light for someone else. And this week, I've been going through my own darkness, and this was so appropriate. I'm talking light into my own darkness. And before I came on, I was going through a hard time. With you and I have talked about it. And through the Honor Society, I've learned my relationship with God has also grown. And I now look up to God. I can ask God to help me with all what I might be going through. And I've learned how to be more of a listener. And there's one person in our church who talks about if you have not been tested, you have no testimony.
That's a good one. If you haven't been tested, you have no testimony. I love that. I have to use that one. If you haven't been tested, you have no testimony. Wow, yes. I love it.
Yeah, and I've been researching more about honor and what honor means. According to the Greek, honor means time, to give value and to recognize. And I'm dedicating the rest of my life to be in the honor society and trying to live by honor. Because what I have learned, honor can open all doors and dishonor can close all doors. So, and also learning to honor one another from the least to the greatest. You might think of one as being a least, but we are all equal. We are all just blessed differently. So thank you again. I'm really, really humbled by you saying you dedicated this to me.
Well, I'm humbled by you. I mean, you come from Africa. You came to this nation. You became a nurse. You served so many people. You became even your voice has a radiance and a light in it. And I know you've helped thousands of people over the years and will continue to help even more now. So then we came up with this in our conversation that we had. So for you, God, I'm extremely grateful for the gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you. I see that. And without test, there's no testimony. I love it. I hope I can remember to say that. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Mercy. And I know the tribulations you've been through in life and what you've achieved is amazing.
Thank you. And Happy New Year to you and to everybody on the group. I learn a lot from one another. I listen to what everyone has to say, and I come out really feeling humbled and empowered and knowing what people are going through. I'm not alone. So thank you for you guys for speaking up and for saying things about what you're going through. And Cynthia, that was great. I can only imagine how hard it is with your dad being sick.
Thank you for that input, for your compassion for Cynthia, and for the benefit that you're getting from the whole group, our community. I think that's pretty universally felt. People tell me the highlight of the week is Tuesday night when we get together. It's not just because of my presentation. It's from hearing from all the brothers and sisters who speak up. So it's a great blessing that we have to have this time together. Then we'll have the videos, and the videos will be uploaded on your website, artistherapy.com. We're immersed in great bounty. We're immersed in great mercy to have one another and to have this time together. I don't take it for granted. I value every second that we have. Who else has something you would like to ask or say?
I just wanted to share something that somebody wrote on the chat for Mario based on what I was saying. So, and this is a shorter version. Make it right, be the light.
Oh, there's a good. Make it right,
sorry,
be the light.
I said it wrong. No, be the light, make it right. So
well, either way, be the light, make the right, or be the light, make it right. Either way, I like that. Woo. Make it right, be the light,
Thanks,
be the
Mario.
light, make it right. Wow. It's just some pretty good little sayings popping up. Really good sayings. Well, Mario is a very spiritual man, and doesn't surprise me he said that. Yeah.
It's just great teamwork how we share all of our thoughts together. We just come up with these great mottos that will help us remind us of, not to forget, and keep moving forward and keep our head high,
Mario is a very spiritual guy. So, Mario, I'm sure you like that one. Without a test, there is no testimony. I know you would. I know that would really spoke to me, and I knew it spoke to you. Yeah, without a test, there's no testimony. And that sure says a lot. Wow, the amount of wisdom that's around. Beautiful, beautiful.
I just want to say something to the group. It's a gift to have Dr. Nerenberg here. There's forms of prayers and there's forms of saviors. In some respect, God uses a man that we're less than anything, like the doctor agrees. And we've made all the mistakes. And we haven't made as much mistakes as he has, but God uses men like this in our lives to show us that without making mistakes, we'll never learn. Like Colonel Sanders, right? He was 64 years old before he made it, right? So we're going to make mistakes in order to learn. So I'm grateful for this group.
Something you say that, Mario. Something you said that. I was talking to my sobrino, Jorge, today, and I said, I'm a man of great compassion because I see myself in all the imperfections of all people. So when I see the imperfections of other people, I don't feel superior because I see myself in those mistakes. Whatever your imperfections are, almost all the imperfections that I see in anybody, whatever struggle you're having, I see myself in that imperfection. And so that gives me an understanding of you. It gives me a humility towards you and a compassion because I do honestly see myself in the imperfections of each. Whatever perfections you have, I'm in awe of you. Whatever imperfections I see myself and feel a connection through that more than I do through the perfections. So I feel more connected to the imperfections than the struggles because that's the human experience. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Mario.
Thank you. I'm struggling through life just like everybody else.
That's it.
There's all the good. There's the light. So we put the light wherever we need it. If it's one step, 1 foot, you need the light.
I'm glad Mario has brought this up because I'm interested in the psychology of imperfection. Whatever system you step into, be it the way of honor, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Baha'i, whatever group you're in, be a Republican, a Democrat, whatever, you're not going to live the teachings. You're just not going to do it. You're going to fail at times, but you can strive towards that. It's a direction, and you might succeed a lot, but there's going to come a time when we fall. Absolutely. When people say to me, "How you doing, Doc?" I say, "I'm good. I'm bad. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm all things human." Now, some people get tired of hearing me say that to them, so I shorten it to this: I'm all things human. But that's the human condition. It's very important for me to say that to you because people will think, well, if I got enough therapy, I won't be going through these things. Well, there's no getting out of this without suffering. But I've seen the people do an amazing job. And by that, I mean, I say to my people, you're suffering, yes, but you're doing an amazing job preparing yourself as a soul for your eternal journey. You're preparing for your eternal journey. And I see people doing an amazing job. I see the nobility shining through their faces and their behaviors and their struggles. And that's the beauty. That's the most beautiful thing in the world to me, to see the nobility of the struggle against the lower nature and the conquest of ourselves. That's why I gave Juan years ago the Nerenberg Respect for Real Peace Award, because he had overcome something in himself that day. And I have his picture on my desk, on the desk in the lobby because of that, me presenting him the Respect for Real Peace Award. Well, it's been my pleasure and my privilege to present to you and to discuss with you, be the light in your tunnel of darkness. And remember, without being tested, There is no testimony. I love it.